Welcome to Ideagen TV. Today we have with us our good friend and co-host, Stephen Tingus. Stephen, welcome.
Hi, George. How are you?
You know, Stephen, we're great now that you're with us. It's been a long road this year. Who would have thought, my friend, that a few short months ago in January, you and I were having a conversation that the entire planet would be consumed by a hidden enemy, this incredible, fast-spreading virus called COVID-19. But yet, we've seen the resilience of the human spirit, and we've seen an acceleration of innovation, etc., while also highlighting disparities and areas where we can change the world. I want to ask you, Stephen, we're looking at, as you know, at Ideagen, bringing global leaders and luminaries to the table to have authentic conversations. And I understand we have a very special guest with us today as well.
Yes, we do. We do. And thank you, George, for that intro. I want to say my deepest thoughts and condolences for all those affected by COVID. It's a terrible disease. For someone like me in one of the high-risk communities, it's been exceptionally challenging, but with everybody's support and patience and really learning about the effects of the virus, we can get through this. So my family's been affected by the virus and have recovered. And I want to send my heartfelt prayers to everybody in the U.S. and across the world. We can get through this, and we will. So today, I'd like to thank Azure for powering this conversation, to my colleagues at Ideagen Global, and also to Microsoft. Ideagen TV Hollywood is focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion here in Hollywood. But before I start the show, I want to make sure that you all tuned in to Ideagen's UN Summit on sustainability goals. There's 17 sustainability goals that we are working on across the world to improve the lives and productivity of all communities, including people with disabilities. Sustainability goal number 11 talks about communities and empowerment. But with regard to that, what's particularly important to me is inclusion of all people, whether you have a disability or not. I'd like to have my friend George Safakis tell a little bit more about the sustainability goals, and specifically goal number 11. George?
You know, Stephen, such an incredible and articulate description of what it is that we're doing together. I think these conversations, these authentic conversations, are so critically important. And the 17 global goals are special. And they're special, I believe, because they were unanimously agreed to by all 193 member states of the United Nations back in 2015. Now, that is no small feat to bring together 193 member states, countries, to agree unanimously on these 17 broad global goals, by the way, including the United States of America. And so I view these goals, and so many across the world view these goals as a unifier, as a common element and a common thread for humanity as we look at eradicating hunger, eradicating poverty, gender equality, global partnerships, and the rest of the global goals, including sustainable communities and cities, which is so critically important. And we see the importance of it, especially so now during this global pandemic. And so, Stephen, I'm excited for you to introduce your next guest from Ideagen Hollywood.
Thank you, George. I am very pleased and excited to introduce Joshua Leonard. Joshua Leonard is an animator by trade, a friend of mine, and hopefully a collaborator on some great projects ahead as the time arises. Joshua, welcome.
Hey, thank you both for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak.
Well, you know,
I'd like to.
I wanted to
I'd like to
echo
ask-
Stephen's
I'm sorry.
comments. Stephen, your comments of introducing Joshua are incredible. Welcome, Joshua.
Thank you.
Joshua, can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and how you got started in animation?
Yeah. So I'm a military brat. I was born in Miami, Florida. So I moved around a lot. I lived in Miami and then Anchorage, Alaska, Maryland, and then Biloxi, Mississippi. So I live in Atlanta, Georgia right now, where I was a Hurricane Katrina victim. So I got evacuated out here. I've been drawing my whole life. You know, my birthday is September 29th. I'll be 37. So I have at least 36 years of illustration background. I graduated from the Art Institute in 2018, graduated with a 4.0. I was a summa cum laude and the commencement speaker along with Rep. John Lewis. So got to meet him and kind of collab on a book that I probably still need to continue to work on. But I've been drawing my whole life, learned animation at the Art Institute and kind of on my own. And I'm big on like just learning as much as I can and just staying humble and soaking up like a sponge all the information I can from other great artists and people. And I draw from real life, you know, real life situations. So currently at Netflix, I worked with Nickelodeon on a couple of shows, but currently at Netflix, and I'm also the creator of the upcoming cartoon Team Supreme, which is about a group of kids who all have a special need and they have superpowers. So there hasn't been anything like that before on this level that I'm gonna be showing to the people. But that's pretty much how I got started, man. My older brother taught me how to draw when I was in kindergarten, and rest in peace to him. He died last month at the age of 41 from pneumonia. So I'm here now, and I'll keep continuing to create for him.
I'm so proud to have you with us today because you know what? Animation gets a little bit overlooked. Obviously, you know, it's a big thing with young kids and teenagers and even us aging adults. But, you know, it's just like, I wanted to ask you, how did you decide or what was in your life that made doing cartoons, I'm sorry, animation, regarding people with visible and invisible disabilities?
Yeah, really good question. So it really boiled down to the lack of diversity that I saw in animation in general. Obviously, there's a lack of Black people in the industry. I think it's less than 3%. So I saw that. I didn't like it. I didn't see people with special needs or disability, amputees, you know, people in wheelchairs. You don't see it enough. So I was like, man, you know what? If they're not hiring this group of people or this group of people, I'm going to combine all of this into one and really put pressure on them by creating a cartoon that's so inclusive and so diverse that they won't have any choice but to believe in it, you know, and move forward with it. And it's working. You know, I put pressure on the industry, it's working.
Exactly. You know, we can't, we have to keep our business minds educated on what the studio execs really want to see, and more importantly, how it will sell. And it's so important that everybody sees, whether on TV or in the movies, themselves somewhere in the storyline. So I think it's very important and timely for your work because it reaches a really big audience.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, who gave you the support and strength to follow your dreams and creative skills in animation?
Yeah, another good question. Probably I gotta go with my father, man. That's my best friend. So, um, he did a really good job instilling all of this, determination and tenacity, and just really raised me to go and get it. And my father is a retired chief. He grew up poor in Texas, and he went in the Air Force and retired chief. Did, I think, 30 years in the military. Got out, got 2 bachelor's degrees, 3 master's degrees. And even with that success, he never said, you need to go do this like I did. Like, he never was one of those to push me to try to be like him. He wanted me to just follow my dreams and my goals. And it's been the best thing for me. So, and a matter of fact, about 2 years ago, he had a heart attack while he was working in the yard and didn't know he was having a heart attack, and drove himself to the hospital and everything, man. So my dad he's a great human being. And I think that's what we lack these days. There's like no human decency in the world anymore. So that's why I really want to bring this type of show together so we can, it's needed right now, man. You see it. We talked about it already.
Yeah.
It's so needed right now. It's crucial. But yeah, definitely my father.
I salute your dad.
Thank you.
Because my father was also in the military with the Army during the Korean War. And growing up in a military family is quite unique. Because sometimes, whether it's your father or mother in the military, they kind of force you to go one way or another. But it's great that your dad allowed you to develop your own interests and skills to pursue something that is rewarding for you, and how that can, better serve America and across the globe. And animation is universal. So it's so exciting to see someone like you be given the strength to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the way my late parents were too, is, you have to develop your own path. They can support you, and you get that strength. And that strength is irreplaceable.
Absolutely.
So I salute your dad, and thank God you still have him in your life to see all of these, pending projects that are just going to make him really proud.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So briefly, I wanted to ask you, what projects that you've worked on are you most proud of, and why? What is the message in a project that you're most proud of that really gets your engine going?
Yeah, that's an easy question, man. Definitely Team Supreme. That's my baby back there, and it's basically because of it's people are afraid of what they don't understand. Like, they hear disability or special need, they automatically want nothing to do with it. Hollywood, I'll say that. So my job is to, I put a chip on my shoulder. Like, this is gonna be my brand. I'm gonna brand. I'm really gonna push diversity. I'm really gonna push equality. inclusion. So that's my biggest, probably my biggest project that I have the most, love and respect for, just because it's needed so much, man. And I was raised to not judge anybody based off the color of their skin, man. You're gonna judge them based off their character alone. I don't care what you look like. You can have one eye, no limbs at all. I don't care about that. Like, if it's you're either a good human being or you're not. It's that simple. And it's unfortunate that we're in 2020 and look what we're still going over. He was this color. This was this color. I mean, it's really getting old, man. And I feel like it starts from childhood, so the studios have the power to change these narratives with these cartoons, and they don't do it. I'm tired of seeing these shows that look the same and they talk about the same stuff. No show like mine. No show is going to be like mine as it pertains to autism. They're going to show all of these details. We're going to break down every type of disability and special need, to not only teach the viewer, but to show how dope it is, how awesome, what they're capable of, and that's why this is such a major project that I'm the proudest of. So
I agree with you. And, as a member of the disability community, and I think it's a misnomer when we use the term disability, because I am able, and I've done so much. It's hard to even get a job these days, because I've done so much because of not only my skills, but the support of my family and friends like you.
yeah,
And, being born with muscular dystrophy is different than somebody that's acquired a disability later in life, like a spinal cord injury or traumatic brain injury. I think, it's hard to speak out, but I think what we need to do is get rid of all that hate in the disability community and the Black community, or African American, if you may, and the LGBTQ community. Get rid of that hate and let's start educating ourselves to find commonality
right.
across communities. Because until we get out of our silos and work across communities, we'll never advance.
Yep.
And we all want to advance in life. And those of us that have a political background, we're known to be able to negotiate compromise. But unfortunately, in today's landscape, we're not finding that. So it's up to people like you and I to sell the message and to be comfortable to agree, to disagree, and how we move forward as creatives. And I share your vision and your hope for a better way of living together.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, as a creative, a couple of years ago, we had the Oscars So White issue, and it was, very important, left out a number of communities like disability, but it's like, oh well, okay. Then it tells me I have to work harder to educate. So, with that said, people with disabilities comprise now, I was surprised, 25% of Americans, which is 61 million people with disabilities now in America.
Yep.
With that, in Hollywood, like you are attached, only 2.5% of characters, whether on TV or in movies, is a character with a disability. But surprising to our viewers, 95% of those roles are filled by able-bodied actors.
Yep.
To you, Joshua, as a creative, what is your vision of how to change our industry for the better, whether it be in front or behind the camera?
Yeah, really good question. And first of all, those numbers are staggering, and it's really disrespectful. It's a slap in the face to the disabled community. And I feel like not only in Hollywood do we still have to continue to have these conversations, we really have to continue to stress the importance of it, especially today, man. And with all this stuff going on, like I said earlier, there's so much hate right now. It's really sad, man. 2020, and we're still talking about the same stuff. Let's move forward. And I believe I was put here not only to draw and to animate, but to change these narratives, man. I don't have a problem speaking up. You know, I have no problem, you know, if they try to blackball me. I want to make it easier for the next generation to tell their stories and to bring in their ideas, you know, as it pertains to diversity, inclusion, equality. Like with my cartoon, we made sure the actors, the voiceover, you know, the voice actors, all of that stuff. We're gonna have a diverse group. The actors will have, you know, a disability or a special need as well. So we've already started doing a bunch of research, and I think it's stuff like that. The writers' room will be diverse and inclusive. So that's the major thing, man. That writers' room, you have to. That's kind of where it starts, man. You know, and that's the importance of being a creative. You get the freedom to kind of make these choices before it goes to the top. But I feel like I'm definitely gonna be pushing for it. You know, I have no problem. I'm gonna be honest with them, but at the same time, I'm gonna be stern and kind of put my foot down as to, you know, what I would like, especially for my cartoon. But I think it might start with Team Supreme before they really get the idea. Once they see how well this show does, then I think they'll start to believe and start to listen a little bit more. But in the meantime, I think all we can do is continue to kind of have this conversation and kind of keep the pressure on them. Like, hey, we here too. I can do the same thing as him. It might be different, but I can still do it. You know, and I want to get out of that. You know, everybody wants to look the same. They have to look like this. They have to look like that. Why? What makes us so amazing is the fact that we're all different. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, why not get all these differences on screen instead of getting these drop dead gorgeous people? Everybody don't look like that. I don't look like that, you know. But I'm. It is what it is, man. So let's change this narrative and make a difference here.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing as a well, let's say an honorary member voice to the Writers Group of America West. It is important to have people with various disabilities or people that are attached
Right.
to a situation where a person has a disability, to make sure that we, before it goes to production, make sure that the storyline at least has a character, whether featured, background, or supporting,
Right.
with a disability.
Yep.
And I think it also pertains, obviously, to animation.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are 10 steps ahead of everybody else. But the issue for you is to make sure that you are connected to the writers groups that pertain to the issues that
Right.
are near and dear to your heart. So I would be warmly open to connect you to the writers group of America so that your voice is heard and your work is somehow, knitted into future projects.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you my last question,
Mhm.
and for our episode is there anything that, and I understand all the secrecy that we need to deal with here in Hollywood with regard to ideas and such, but generically, what types of projects, including Team Supreme, that you hope to bring to the screen?
Like me.
Like ideas, not like, projects that you can't talk about, but basically the theme of projects that you would like to work on.
Like me personally, my own projects.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, like I said, my whole brand is like inclusivity, diversity, and equality. So, any project that I create, any show, I always want to have special need in there, or disability, or I just want to really touch on all of that. So, really, it doesn't matter what I make. I just want it as diverse as possible. Does that make sense? Like, I just want,
Yes.
even when I'm a character designer as well. So when I'm creating my characters, when I'm drawing these characters, there's a story behind, okay, like this girl will have this guy will have this, I really go into detail, as it pertains to like their backstory and stuff like that. So anything that I create, I always will want to have that type of, because it's needed and nobody else is doing it like that right now. So I really want to, why can't this person have, why can't he be in a wheelchair? Why can't this one be an amputee? Why can't this one have sickle cell? And you speak on sickle cell, and then you teach on sickle cell for the viewer who doesn't know what sickle cell is. And it's I want to bring all of that knowledge into my creations, whether it be comics, animation, live action. I don't care, man. We're gonna have all of that in there all the time. And that's my goal. That's my whole plan. And
This is so exciting because people have been waiting for this. And ironically, now's the time to get it to the people.
right.
I don't, as a person that uses a wheelchair, and I don't know how much you can go into the character of the person in the wheelchair
Mm-hmm.
that you've created.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to say anything? Because I think it's super cool to see myself
Yeah.
in a cartoon.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Met. Let me see. Let's see. He is in a wheelchair over here. Is it this way? Yeah,
There he
way
is.
back there. Mech actually has spina bifida, so
Okay.
he'll be very good with his hands. I mean, extremely brilliant mind, but he likes to create stuff. So that's what he'll be, almost like the gadget and the tech, real smart whiz. But even in a wheelchair, he's gonna be a dope character. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter that he has a wheelchair and that he can't do this. Maybe he can't go downstairs in his wheelchair. That's that might be one of the weaknesses, but he has so many other positive and such other amazing abilities that it doesn't matter. And that's what we're trying to teach these people. Like, we don't want to. Team Supreme is not here to make you feel sorry for people with a disability. We want you to normalize it, like how amazing they are. That's the whole point of this. Like, these kids have superpowers, which are awesome. And yeah, they also have a special need or disability. So it's just going to be awesome, man.
Right. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
I'm so excited as a peer to see you develop this career pathway that is really needed.
Thank you.
And one thing that people with disabilities, or whatever you call yourself, I call myself challenged.
There you go.
You know, it's like we all need to get away from the unable terminology and express to people what we face individually.
Right.
So, I'm just so excited for you because this is long overdue. And I want to publicly say that I am going to work with you and support you with all of your goals so that more people can see themselves no matter what their ability is in life. So, Joshua, thank you so much
Absolutely.
for being on Ideagen TV Hollywood. On behalf of George Zafakis and his staff at Ideagen, we really want to thank you. And we are going to support your road to education and success through your work. And it's timely.
Absolutely.
And it's time that we uplift America and our global community that anything is possible.
Absolutely.
As long as we have love, creativity, and persistence.
Absolutely. Thank you for the compliment.
Joshua,
Thank you.
thank you so much for being on today. Have a great weekend. And to our viewers, please check out Joshua Leonard on social media and type in the hashtag Team Supreme for further information about his great work and the road ahead. So with that, thank you, Joshua, on behalf of Ideagen, and we'll be talking soon.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.